Well, hello and welcome to Critical Weight Theory. So, this is a bit of a strange episode because I'm really explaining why my comedy routine trial run series is dead. And it's a weird realization that I just came to. Because if you were to look at some of the episodes of this podcast, I have sort of a show within a show that I call the Comedy Routine Trial Run, where I sort of go over the jokes that I'm planning to tell during my stand up comedy routine during these open mic nights at some local bars. And it's not the worst concept for podcast episodes, but the problem is, I'm not talking in front of a live audience or anything like that, and I have a tough time memorizing my stuff. I'm starting to realize that I'm going to have a more natural approach to comedy in general, right? So, my stand up comedy on Wednesday night this week, I'm planning to have it be more pure improv based. It's going to be based on topic suggestions from the audience. And I've realized that my brain is just too fried to memorize a bunch of different routines all the time. And I just want it to be naturalistic. And it's not like I don't have any funny ideas. I mean, I might still dabble in those. Like, for example, I was planning to do a roast of Robert Frost. I was thinking, what's the funniest idea that I could possibly do this week if I was going to, force myself to say something funny on stage, or well, technically it's not a stage. It's we're standing in front of people in a bar, but you know what I mean. What kind of jokes would I tell? And I thought, well, the idea of just randomly roasting Robert Frost would be pretty funny. And the problem is, like, I did a bunch of takes of that. I was just messing up all over the place with my delivery and all that kind of stuff. And I realized, that's not the type of comedy that I'm best at. If I've memorized a bunch of material, it will make it seem inauthentic and less interactive. And the way I see it, people want to be more naturally immersed in the content, at least my content. Plus, I can always still use something I've developed naturally in my mind if I ever want to fall back on it. So it's not even really an either or question, right? So some of the ideas that I've got, like, I've regularly talked about the sex lives of mosquitoes, like males, male and female mosquitoes. They have sex for like a second. It takes literally like a second for them to get it on. So basically, every mosquito is like a one pump chump. And another weird fact about mosquitoes that I have brought up in the past is that female mosquitoes actually carry around male mosquito sperm with them throughout much of their lives. And that means they're vampiric little cum sluts if you really think about it. So, the comedic potential is there if I have those types of things to talk about. But I kind of like the idea of living on the edge and getting suggestions from the audience. And of course, I can always draw from the well of previous material if I want to. But, having to memorize stuff, it just gets annoying. Like, it's not the way that I want to approach things going forward. So I kind of want to know your thoughts. Like, if you can leave a message in the comments, if you find this on YouTube, you could email me at wadewineo@gmail.com. You can let me know what your idea of perfect comedy is, you know, because I really think it's funny to roast Robert Frost. I still probably will try to do that a little bit on Wednesday night, but if the audience isn't feeling it, I don't know why I should like keep going down that road, even though Robert Frost uh, did a famous poem about going down roads. So maybe I could tie it in that way thematically, you know. Um, but the problem is I could riff on Robert Frost's age and all that kind of stuff. But if it's like a bunch of prefabricated jokes, I don't know if that really will work that well with the audience at this point. I don't know if it would work that well with me. Um, if I'm second guessing and having doubts about my comedy style, um, that's not necessarily going to be conducive to laughs in the audience. So that's kind of what I'm grappling with this week. There's a little bit of an identity crisis because my brain feels a little bit too fried to like memorize a bunch of different routines. Um, you know, Maybe that makes me less professional. I don't know, but I think I will be more professional if I'm able to just riff and the idea kind of doesn't work that well on a podcast episode anyway, unless there is a live audience. Um, that's what makes stand-up comedy better for me, is if there are people there that I could, react to in some way. And that to me, it seems like what the audience is more about. They seem to laugh the most when I'm less involved in whatever routine I have developed. And it just seems more authentic that way. So again, let me know your thoughts if you're feeling open to that. And I am going to include a picture of Robert Frost in this episode. And let me know if you have any ideas for things that you would roast Robert Frost about. Like he went down the road less, or the path less chosen, or whatever. But too bad it didn't lead him to any talent or something like that. Uh, I could also joke about how he chose to use the word road instead of path, even though the word path actually sounds more poetic. It's sort of like choosing the word rock instead of stone. I mean, he's not exactly choosing the most poetic language at every instance. So I don't know. I'm just kind of struggling with ideas this week. We'll see how it goes on Wednesday. I have a feeling it'll be okay. But even if I bomb, whatever. Life goes on. Anyway, have a good one.